You're listening to DraftKings Network.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I'd like to start with a midweek check-in on everybody here. Because, it's been a while since it's been the normal cast around here. Things change from day to day. And so, I figured let's check in midweek and see how everybody's doing. And I'm going to let's go clockwise. And I'll start with Billy.
Get back to me.
Okay, we'll go counterclockwise, and I'll start with Jeremy. Jeremy, how's it going?
Things are great.
Really?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, I feel like this week's going really well.
All right.
I feel like we've all been having a lot of fun. It's great to have you here. I'm having fun. So, yeah, great week.
That's not what I was asking for, but I appreciate that. I wasn't looking for praise. Go ahead.
Can
Billy.
I tell you something that I used to do that I found helpful? It was years ago. And we tried to do a version of it on air, and it didn't work out the way that it actually worked. But I used to play a game called What's Good. So, if you're stressed out and you're, overwhelmed or whatever, driving in, I would play a game called What's Good, where it's you just try to focus on, your blessings and what's good. And then it tries to take your mindset out of whatever it is that, has you down. And then what ended up happening is we played it on air a game called What's Good, and it's Funyuns are good, and it's no, this isn't exactly how this game
Funyuns
was
are
intended
good.
to
But you also said to come back to you and then interrupted. So
no, I
we're
was
going to
just
get back to our...
No, I'm just letting you know. No, you can get back to me on how I'm feeling, but I'm just telling you that I found it to be a helpful exercise because you're kind of checking in. So if someone's struggling or on the struggle bus, as some people say, then maybe we try to flip it and see what's good. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, see, this is the music. But again, it was I like the multicolored goldfish. And it's no, not exactly how we're playing the game.
All right, well, let's try this again. Let's start over.
Okay, don't
We're going to go
start with me.
clockwise.
Counterclockwise.
Excuse me. We'll go counterclockwise because Billy's afraid. Jeremy Taché, what's good?
Sour cream and onion chips are good.
No.
Not
See?
doing it
All
right.
right, so he's messing this up. Let's go to Jeremy's right. And my boy, Juju Gotti. Juju's here. How are you, Juju?
I'm pretty regular.
I'm sorry. I did it wrong. I already did it wrong. What's good,
You don't have
Juju?
to ask what's good. You can
No?
just do your weekly check-in like you want to
okay.
do. The thing is also with starting with Jeremy that I've noticed, and Jeremy, I don't want to upset you. I don't mean this to be a thing. I don't want it to be like a pile-on Jeremy fest like what happened last week when we started talking about the clothes and all that stuff.
I wish I would have seen that jacket.
You strike me as someone who maybe could have been a teacher's pet. So, if the teacher asks you, how's the week going? You're like, great, teach. You did such a good job. I love how you did algebra this week or something. You know what I mean?
I have an actual experience of in high school after I felt like the kids in the class were too mean to my teacher, waiting afterward to ask if she was okay.
You waited after class to ask if your teacher was okay because the kids were bullying the teacher?
Yeah.
I thought I was somebody who felt other people's pain more. Jeremy might do it more than I do.
No, I'm the worst people pleaser I know.
That's not good for Courtney. Juju!
Thanks.
How are you, buddy?
I'm pretty regular, if I do say so myself. Not too awesome, not too not awesome.
Does
Right in
Mike
the
know that you're that regular? Are you part of the poop chat or no?
Absolutely not. And
Okay.
don't get me started on the pee-pee talk from Monday.
Please
No,
don't
we're
do
not.
that.
We're not going there.
We're not
We're not
having
going
that.
there. I'm asking you
Pray
how
to
Just
you
out of
were
curiosity.
doing.
No, today's not. No, we're
Can
not
I
doing
mark
that.
you down as
Not happening.
in a
What mark me
Spencer's
down
cut?
is what's good is when you go up to a traffic light, when you're driving in your car, you approach a traffic light, and you're like 2 cars back, but you're in the right lane, and you got to turn right at that traffic light. And then out of a shocking twist, the 2 cars in front of you are also turning right, so you don't miss a light cycle. That's
that.
what's good,
You
guys.
know,
Yeah.
I love it when you're driving in the middle lane and you want to switch lanes because these guys are going too slow, but then all of a sudden the 2 cars in front of you in the middle lane just parked like the Red Sea, and you're just vroom right down between them, and you're just saying
Tetris.
thanks to both.
I call
There
that
you go.
Tetris while I'm driving.
So, yeah, Mike's answer? No?
I have no idea what you're asking me right now,
Yeah.
and I don't think Dan wants to know that answer.
Exactly.
Mike,
You, are you al dente?
not at the moment. Mike, how about you?
What's good with me is soccer season. Has just ramped up all over Europe.
true.
Can't get enough of it right now. Soccer obsessed. There's so many great apps to track every game. signed up for like these weird streaming services where I can really concentrate on Turkish football. In all, is I'm gambling again.
Do you have that weird thing that Woody said that he had, that he gets a notification anytime anyone scores a goal?
Fot mob.
That seems
Yeah,
like
you
a
can
lot.
follow
Anytime
games.
someone scores a
Yeah,
goal.
he said it like for you. I think as he explained it, and you would know better, is that like you could select leagues or teams or whatever and get push notifications, but he had like everything turned on.
Yeah, everything is a bit much, but games that I'm gambling
And
again
it's
on.
soccer, so he had like 3 notifications.
Yeah, you can get notifications when it starts, when lineups are announced, when there's a red,
Those
whenever
Premier
there's a
League
penalty.
exhibitions here in the States, like last week or 2 weeks ago, were really good. They were really good this season.
There was a lot of scoring in them, but yeah, Fot Mob is an incredible app. It's life changing. Makes me a better gambler.
How do you spell that for those who want to download?
FOTMOB.
Got it.
I'm going to go to Lucy last. Okay,
Why?
I know, because it's my rules. It's my game.
How
even though
are
it's your
you?
music. I said I was good. You know what? I didn't say I was good. I'm okay. I'm pretty good. My right armrest is a little higher than my left armrest, so I'm feeling a little like
Well, that's adjustable.
floopy.
You just gotta. You just.
Yeah, but
see?
I tried and I just couldn't do it. So
Maybe the floor's
Maybe during
uneven.
the break you can help me out with this. I'm not the most like crafty person. Like I
Right,
usually
it's
have.
you just push a.
It's
I
not
can't
really
say the
working for me.
word, but you push that and
A
adjust it.
button.
Yeah.
All right, so how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. I'm here. You know, Juju's here, which made me happy. Not that the rest of you don't make me happy. But
That,
I've
by the
seen
way,
you
his shirt
all
is
week.
what's good. The
Thank you.
Charlotte Wilder T-shirt.
Oh wow! I didn't even notice that.
yes, it's
That's
not
great.
a Charlotte Hornets T-shirt. Pull it up a little bit, Juju.
Has Charlotte seen that shirt?
It's amazing.
Salute to my sister. I got your back forever. Celtics, we stick together. The long form and short form. I will fight anybody for you. If anybody touch you ever, they would regret it, Charlotte. So
No hug
got
for
you.
Charlotte from me.
Has she seen that shirt?
I don't think so.
That's incredible.
I tagged her in it on Instagram.
Oh,
She
did you?
reposted it.
That's
She
such a
loves
good
it.
shirt. I love
Lucy, what's good?
Hi.
I was going to ask
Okay.
you what's bad, but what's good first?
that. Don't do that.
I took a 4-hour nap yesterday on accident, and it was awesome.
You're so Jeremy and I both accidentally took naps yesterday
Yep.
and were waking up like I was in pain when I woke up. I had no idea where I was, what time it was, and I was like, what is this? And then I was like, oh, wow, that was just a great nap is what it was.
I woke up at like 7:30 p.m. and I was like, do I just go back to sleep? Is this? It was a very weird time, and then I decided not to. I watched the Florida doc instead, and that made
Was
me feel
good?
bad.
Kill the music because we're going to what's bad now. And
It
this
was
is-
real bad. It was real bad.
Let me tell you, Lucy, because I turned on the Florida doc on Netflix.
Mistake.
What's it called? Swamp Kings?
Swamp Kings.
Swamp Kings. And you know how at the beginning of every doc, this was a series. I didn't really know that. So I was like, oh, okay. So they've either got really good stuff or, just sort of stretching out this football thing. And you just realize right off the bat, it's just a football doc. Like they've got, you mentioned yesterday, they've got Urban. It's like, wow, if they got Urban, then you're not going to talk about any of the bad stuff. First thing I did was just look at the episode summaries. You're not getting into anything negative with this group.
Nope.
Not a single thing. And then you hear almost within 10 seconds, spoiler alert for anybody who wants to watch this, Urban Meyer use the brotherhood, and then Tim Tebow say brotherhood. And Lucy, I'm not even kidding. I turned it off right then and there.
I should've.
had to, I needed to breathe. I was like, I'm not ready for this yet. And then 2 hours later, I decided to watch it. I watched the first 2 episodes. It's there inside the U, but not even as detailed as Inside the U was. It's just football. I'm 2 episodes in out of 4, and they
Don't
haven't
finish.
even, now he hasn't gotten there
Don't
yet.
finish.
Don't
But
finish
Aaron
it.
Hernandez hasn't even arrived yet. And Percy Harvin, they've shown him make one long run and just don't even talk about him.
They don't talk about literally anything. I told you guys I thought this was going to suck. I thought they were just going to gloss over the partying stuff. They didn't gloss over it. They completely ignored everything. There was one tiny 5-minute segment, and I think the third part where they talked about how crazy these guys were, and then they were like, but you know who wasn't crazy? Tim Tebow. You know who didn't party? Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
They showed clips of him reading the Bible at a pool. It was insane. It was so bad.
The first image you get of Tim after the first few minutes of just sort of them encapsulating things is a silhouette from the back, neck down, holding a Bible.
Yeah.
And they zoom in on and then they sit down and he's just flipping through the pages of the Bible. And then as he's one of the other settings where he's interviewed, he's just kind of whispering when he talks. He's not, and it's just like, what is going on here?
It was like, I expected it to be bad, but it was a level of bad that it was just entirely like, I don't even want to call it a football doc. It was like a Urban Meyer redemption tour doc, which is insane. Don't try to make me feel bad for that guy. It's absolutely not going to work. It made me hate him more.
Well, at the beginning of it, he talked about how he really brought the discipline. He made it sound like the problems were before he got there, and I'm sure there were some. I don't know what the numbers are, but he made it sound like he brought the discipline.
So he cleaned things up.
But no, all they went to was just how much harder they worked on the field and how much more insane of like the mat drill. I watched that and I assumed that maybe Mike, king of college football over here, would know what the mat drill is, and Mike didn't know what the mat drill was, and he's like, is it like the Oklahoma drill? I'm like, no, it's nothing like that. And Lucy, I don't know if you could help me explain this, but it's basically you put two guys on a mat. And what, it's just the only one who survives? Wait, like, does somebody have to get off the mat? Does somebody have to get up? I'm not sure exactly what the end goal was.
It's pretty much whoever survives when. There was not a lot of good parts of this documentary. There was one clip I liked. It was a former Florida player being like, I will never let my kids know what we did in those practices.
Oh. Well, there was one image of a guy just throwing up into his own arms and, like, not even blinking, not even moving. You had Brandon Spikes, who was this great recruit his freshman year, saying, and he was a beast of a football player, saying, I came here to play football. These guys are all preparing like they're going to the Army. I'm not about that. And so it wasn't about everybody's life is not about that intensity, but enough people bought in to where it changed everything in that 1 year. And that one first title that they won was about as shocking of a title as you could think about in the years past, because you remember going into that game and they showed it. It was just like, oh, it's going to be an Ohio State blowout. Oh, Florida probably doesn't even deserve to be here. It should be Michigan. And then Florida comes out and wins a game.
As you're talking about this, I'm just realizing I literally couldn't care less about this part of the topic.
Right.
Who wants this when it comes to the Florida doc? That should not have been what this is about.
Do you think that they know that it was like a dud, and that's why it was the last episode of this third season of Untold?
They did release them pretty quickly, right? Well, it wasn't because was the Balco doc just released and then this one the same week?
The Johnny Manziel one was last week, I think. And
Johnny Manziel was the 8th, so then the other one, I guess, was the 15th, and then this one. But this is the last one that I see scheduled for this third volume of Untold. So presumably it's, I'm guessing, because you guys have said that it was like a waste of time and not what anyone wanted. This was like the big seller that everybody wanted to watch, and now it's like, okay, now you have months to forget that it was a dud.
Well, there is one selling point, and there's a note on it that Lucy mentioned and she tweeted about that I want to bring up next segment.
Hey, it's Roy from the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. U.S. Cellular knows how important your kids' relationship with technology is, and they've made it their mission to help them establish good digital habits early on. That's why they've partnered with Screen Sanity, a nonprofit dedicated to helping kids navigate the digital landscape. And for a smarter start to the school year, U.S. Cellular is offering a free basic phone on new eligible lines, providing an alternative to a smartphone for children. Start smarter with U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to find out more. Terms apply.
Dan Le Batard.
Lou Holtz, number one.
Tripping my balls off.
I can't
Play a little touch-up gray.
You cannot give me enough fake Lou Holtz saying any number.
Tripping my balls off.
Weird. You can't give me enough.
Stugotz.
Drool on the microphone. I'm not sure what you're
on a pacifier to avoid eating my own face.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. DraftKings has all kinds of ways to get in on the action, including same-game parlays, props, live betting, and so much more. Use code Dan when you sign up on the DraftKings Sportsbook app to check it out.
So we were talking about the Florida doc on Netflix, Swamp Kings. And Lucy...
Swings.
Lucy watched all 4 episodes, and I watched 2 of them. And there was one particular note that Lucy posted about on X, which is, wow, we're all just really working tweet and Twitter out of our language, aren't we?
Not me.
Okay.
That's your deal.
That Lucy tweeted about. And Lucy, tell them about the image that you shared.
This was one of those moments I had to rewind to be like, did I hear and see that right? And I have subtitles on. Urban Meyer said, we have a core value, and that's if you hit a woman, you're out. which was a wild thing for Urban Meyer to say on this documentary because at Ohio State he had an assistant coach who he knew was hitting his wife and he kept him around. He said that on the doc, and at this point I felt like he was producing the thing because it was such an Urban Meyer like puff piece that I was like, why would they leave that in there? It was insane.
Jeremy's face is about as shocked as I've ever seen. When you said that.
He said that like in an interview or in an old
camera.
clip?
Like,
no.
It was an interview for this doc.
Oh,
it was
okay.
something that they filmed while he was still the coach at the Jaguars, so as of 2 years ago. Unbelievable. I had to pause it, rewind, took a picture, sent it to the group chat, and I was like, this cannot be real.
I just can't believe that after you guys went out and said, hey, this is probably going to be bad, that it's so much worse than I thought it could be. The fact that it would just be an Urban Meyer puff piece of all things, I figured at the very least, you guys said, there's the imagery around Tebow, that it would just be a Tebow celebration documentary. But if it's an Urban Meyer celebration documentary, what are we doing?
Even if I'm Florida, even if I'm the higher ups in the athletic department or what have you, I don't like this as promotion for my school because the coach isn't still there. And even if he was, I'd be like, I'm not going to send my kid to throw up in his own arms after he wrestles with guys when he's going to play football. And so in terms of like the wins and losses, yada, yada, like you can't translate whatever they're doing now into what was happening then. And if anything, you want to say, hey, I'm going to do the math or just do some history on who the leadership was at the University of Florida. If they're still there, I don't want to send my kid there because of all the things that they're avoiding. Because if they don't talk about Aaron Hernandez, or at least, have a link to the Aaron Hernandez doc on the same streaming service, then they're not providing any real information.
The only mention of Aaron Hernandez they had was Tim Tebow talking about the time that he got in a bar fight with Aaron Hernandez. Obviously, Tim Tebow didn't, but they were together, and that was it. That was the only mention. You would see him in footage.
They didn't get into the bar fight. They just mentioned the bar fight.
They just mentioned it, and it was Tim Tebow being like, I shouldn't have let it happen.
That bar fight's a part of college football lore. The fact that they just
do you remember more of the details? Because I don't.
Yeah, it's they didn't cover Huntley Johnson either.
Yeah, what was Huntley up to?
Nothing. Every single thing you think they should have talked about, they didn't.
$2, Izzy. I saw you. Don't do it again.
That was Chris Cody's joke that I was just regurgitating.
No.
Guilty by association.
Wait a second. I mean, you have what are the rules here? Whoever wears the best T-shirt gets to create the fines.
Them's the breaks.
Apply the fines.
Them's the breaks.
Here are the rules. Juju's in charge.
Okay.
No one's paid a fine since Nam.
Well, the fine money disappeared at one point.
I've always been somebody who's
No, that's
been
not true,
true
actually.
to my word.
We have now a piggy bank for added security so that the money can't just disappear. And it has like a little tummy plug so that you can open it and you don't have to break it.
It sounds like there's stuff in here.
No, there is stuff in there. I opened it the other day because I was like, does this work? So I opened it, and then I saw that there was money, and I made sure to hold up in front of the camera that I was closing it and put it back down exactly where it was. And then I did like a magician, like one of these.
That doesn't fix the problem. If anything, it makes it worse.
What?
Because there's a little plug at the bottom. So now when someone actually takes stuff from there, since it's not see-through like the other jar, we actually don't know how long it's been gone.
Sounds like a thief to me.
But Billy, when you wear the DraftKings hoodie that you're doing, and it's got the like elastic on the sleeves, like you could still do this and still have stuff up the sleeve.
I wish I did. I wish I knew magic. Well, no, I don't.
Where's Chris when we need him?
DraftKings sent me an email asking me for my sizes, and I assumed they were going to send me like some goods that I could wear to
careful
promote
with that
them.
piggy, Jeremy.
And I didn't get anything, so I don't know what that is.
I think it's just for potential sponsorships down the line.
Really?
Like in the event that a sponsor wants to send you some free stuff, we have your sizes on hand.
Well, what are we doing, Feldman/Freeman?
I think they forgot to get my sizes, Feldman. Carl?
Yeah.
Somebody? Large.
Me too.
You're a large, Juju?
I'm not a large.
Lucy, you're a large?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in summation, the Florida doc, to me, I don't know if I'm going to finish it. But as a Florida graduate, as somebody who, even at the time, like, I was just not.
Do you ever go back to Gainesville?
I haven't been in years.
Really?
I have a
go for
couple
Gator
of
Growl every
really,
year?
really good friends that I don't think they think I like them anymore because I don't go to Gainesville anymore to visit them. But
they live in Gainesville?
They live in Gainesville.
Oof.
One of them is actually a journalist, covers the Gators and Jags.
Oh.
But what was the original question?
Was I a large? Yes, I'm a grande.
Yeah, he's a large. You don't go to Gator Growl?
I haven't been to Gator Growl in a while. Honestly, I've been to only two I could remember. I don't remember the one comedian's name was really good, and then I remember like Howie Mandel, who was eh.
I saw Wayne Brady there one time, and I realized I was just at like a very extended version of Whose Line Is It Anyway? And I'm like, okay, we can go now. And then I saw Jim Gaffigan, and I was like, we get it. You like food. Like
One of the most memorable jokes, Howie Mandel, is a pee-pee joke that I cannot repeat now because
Juju said
Juju's
no.
here.
Zagak.
I'm more intimidated by the Charlotte Wilder shirt because I feel like she's the one telling me what to do because you're like got her shirt right.
She's the GOAT. I mean, she's so talented. Like check it out with Darth Amin and Charlotte Wilder. Oh my God, one of the best shows out right now. You feel me? Basketball show without basketball going on, other than the illustrious WNBA, which do not get me started on the under coverage that they receive. But salute to Oddball. I got your back forever, sister.
Why does Amin not like the name of that show when he's such a fan of like a high ball and maybe an occasional late ball? No, wait, that's not Amin. That's Mike.
What?
Never mind.
So
the doc is terrible.
Yeah, the doc is really bad. I think to sum it up, the final scene of it, which please, if you haven't watched it, don't waste your time. It's like really not worth it. I was so mad at myself for watching it. But the final scene is Urban Meyer walking out like onto the field being like, when I stepped into the swamp, I knew this was where magic could happen. And it did. And that's the final scene. That pretty much sums up the doc. It's just Urban Meyer being like nostalgic and trying to be relatable. It was so bad.
That's
it was so bad.
So disappointing. As a graduate, it does nothing for me. It embarrasses me a little bit.
Is the Swamp like the coolest college environment down here in Florida, like for a game when you walk into a stadium?
Nope.
Probably.
Oh. No, that's the trashiest stadium in the world.
It's the
do not wear good anything in there.
But I'm
not
saying
even underwear.
In Florida, because like you basically just have FSU and UF. Like there's not another like great.
There's not another great
the
atmosphere
bounce house.
The bounce house.
Get out of here.
What do you mean get out of here? The bounce house is one of the best college football environments going right now.
Structurally unsound.
Thank you.
Sound built specifically to be able to bounce.
Can we tell? I mean,
an incredible home field advantage over the last 5 years.
Hour,
not many
some
teams.
Random Florida State hour or Florida hour. What is the bounce house? Tell people.
The bounce house is UCF Stadium. Ooh, Izzy just looked like he banged his knee up against something. That sounded painful.
That was my phone. It did not bounce.
UCF's bounce house is a intimate environment in Central Florida.
So small stadium.
UCF has a great campus. I will say that. Like it's cool. Like there's basically like a street. At least the last time I was there, it was like basically like a street, and like the whole thing is like in there. Like it's a nice. It's almost like a little town, right? Inside like Orlando, which is like a kind of a weird place, but whatever.
I love Orlando and I love UCF Stadium. You know what? Mike could back me up on this, right, Mike?
I went there for a game day. I've been to all the major state schools for a home game.
But you don't walk into UCF Stadium and you're like, oh wow. Like it doesn't take you back. Like if you walk into like the Swamp, whether it's a dump or not, right? You go in and you see it and it's like it's all the orange. You see like the words on the wall. You're like, oh my God, like this takes me back.
The Heisman Trophy winner.
When I was playing like
there's a 2017 national champions signage on the stadium.
The Swamp has more instantly recognizable character to it, but as a stadium experience, I didn't like the Swamp.
But when you walk in, you're like, oh wow, like I'm in the Swamp. Like I remember this from playing video games. I see this on TV every weekend. Like you have that feeling when you walk in.
It has an aura to it that the bounce house doesn't have, but I would say that the bounce house has an atmosphere that other schools don't necessarily have. I went there. Yeah. Now all these experiences are kind of skewed because I've gone there for big matchups, be it at FSU, Miami's in town.
That's the way to gauge it.
Game day in town for whenever I saw Florida play at the Swamp. I did see them play FIU one time, and even then it was Tebow's Gators, and it was a pretty electric.
Oh, that game was awesome.
Yeah, and
I remember the field goal they got. Whew.
I've been to FIU, been to FAU, been to FAU for a Shula Bowl.
Rank the cage.
Clearly, this is about the best, and the best to me is the bounce house. Honestly, on a game that's
I disagree.
Yeah, I think that's the best atmosphere.
Granted, I have not been there when it was at its peak, but I think at their best, from start to finish, most intimidating is FSU.
Dope?
What?
Yeah.
No.
When I was there, when they were at their best, when the rivalry against Florida was huge, they've got the horse with the fire and everything goes crazy.
So do we.
I hate UCF. I hate UCF too, Billy. And I'm it's just FSU's stadium is a pretty antiseptic environment most of the times
that's not how I experience.
Are we talking stadiums or atmosphere here? Two different things.
I'm talking atmosphere because to me, I can't tell the difference between 70,000 and 100,000 if they are rocking and if there's a whole experience. So, no, I know the Swamp looks different, but I walk in there, even at its in-game, I think the Swamp is pretty intimidating. But like at the beginning of the game, during all that stuff, it could be anywhere.
Are you taking these experiences at their absolute ceiling or absolute ceiling? There was nothing like that Notre Dame Miami game. Nothing like it.
Untrue.
Oh boy.
Florida State's stadium is intimidating because there's a brick wall right next to the end zone, and I feel like that's not safe. Don't even get me started.
That is really scary. They shouldn't have that.
In terms of in week to week,
Hard Rock Stadium is not in this conversation. Do not put it.
I was just gonna
terms
ask,
of-
if that was at Hard Rock, I don't know if it can be.
If you'd allow me to finish my point, I'd say week to week, yeah, Miami doesn't necessarily measure up to even the Bounce House, FSU, Florida, although the amount of fans that actually attend those games week to week is fairly comparable to the University of Miami, especially when the going's not good there. But for absolute ceiling, being at all those places for crazy atmospheres, it's Hard Rock Stadium. It's Notre Dame. Now, it's incumbent upon the Miami Hurricanes to be that good and that interesting, but this is not my take on it. It's people that work for College Game Day that said flatly, that's the second loudest, craziest atmosphere we've ever experienced in our professional careers covering these games.
Until they went to UCF the next year.
When I went to ACC Media Days, I asked some of the players, like, what's the toughest place to play? And a Virginia Tech linebacker told me Miami because it's really loud because they pump noise into the stadium.
Oh.
I wish we pumped noise.
Oh.
I wish we pumped noise.
Boys.
I don't know where you got that from, but no, it's the canopy over it.
Juju gets it.
If you were to tell me that Notre Dame game happens on the regular, on all the big Miami games when they're at their peak, I would agree with you, but I don't think there's been a long enough stretch where you've had that many, 3 or 4, even 5 games in a row.
You're the one that said at the absolute ceiling, and I also conceded week to week. Miami's not even on the medal stick.
Zombie Nation at the Bounce House, guys. Come on.
Yeah, but
The
you
floor's
guys just
a
kinda
Citrus
touched
Bowl,
the
right?
ceiling. Of course, the Citrus Bowl.
Stugotz here for my friends over at Simply Safe. The average break-in lasts 8 to 10 minutes, so fast response is crucial. That's why Simply Safe Home Security launched its breakthrough technology, 24/7 live guard protection, to help stop crime in real time. Now, Simply Safe professional monitoring agents can actually see, speak to, and deter intruders in your home through the new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera. What amazing peace of mind. I have been a customer of Simply Safe for years now, and I am telling you, their home alarm systems are the best in the world. Simply Safe's advanced motion detection and vision AI can sense the difference between potential intruders and pets to reduce false alarms. And right now, the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, our listeners get a special 20% off any Simply Safe system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. This special offer is for a limited time, so visit simplysafe.com/DLB. That's simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Dan Le Batard.
How do you know it's haunted? Like,
Well, I saw ghouls.
oh, okay.
Multiple ghouls.
That'll do it, yeah.
I saw the face of one ghoul. I had a ghoul scream in my ear once, and I had a Marilyn Monroe painting that kept moving around the house. Haunted.
Wow.
Haunted house.
Yep.
Stugotz.
Usually when I think there's an intruder, I'll walk down the hall and I'll just loudly say, "Take whatever you want. Just leave me alone, please."
Of course.
Just take it. I have insurance. We can all get out of here unscathed. It'll be perfectly fine. Take whatever you want. I wrote down all of the VIN numbers. We are good. We're good.
I love the idea.
Really impresses your wife.
There are clubs in the garage. Just a couple steps here around.
We have some bottles of water if you're thirsty.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. DraftKings has all kinds of ways to get in on the action, including same-game parlays, props, live betting, and so much more. Use code DAN when you sign up on the DraftKings Sportsbook app to check it out.
So was it yesterday that Woody was here? It was just yesterday, right?
No.
Oh, that was Monday.
Yeah.
Monday
$2
when
more
Woody was
dollars.
here. Look, I
It was
just put
his
all my money
birthday,
out
for
there.
God
5,
Christ's
6,
sakes.
7, 8, and I put $9 out there. So I think I've got one more fine available to me. But I was super jealous when he wore the Inter Miami pink, and it wasn't an Inter Miami shirt. Now it's just like, man, or jersey, and so I kind of wanted to buy one. Then I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to get another shoe that's that color. And I got these shoes, and I can't really tell. I don't know if you can tell with the lighting in here, but they're perfectly
What
Inter
are
Miami
those?
pink.
Can I see that?
We're kind of matching. My shoes are like pink too.
Whoa. Time out.
No, oh my goodness.
These are like
Lucy's shoes are fantastic
These are
right
some
now.
air poppies right now.
Those are wows.
I am dead when it comes to my feet, I am in complete dad mode these days. I just want something comfortable. Those are called Allbirds.
What is this? This is like felt. Did you make these at Michael's?
I did not make these, no.
Bruh, Miss Piggy had them on the second Muppy.
These were Miss Piggy.
R.I.P.
But they're Inter Miami colors, and I wear them proudly because they're my squad now, and they got another semifinal coming up, right, Mike?
Another opportunity to play for a trophy, and this trophy is totally different than the last trophy because the last
because it means something.
Well, the last competition was just a year old, and I do think it meant something. But you're starting something from scratch, and you can take your pot shots.
The U.S. Open Tennis Cup.
The U.S. Open, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It was renamed the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It was previously just the U.S. Open Cup. Is 114 years old.
Wow. Who's Lamar Hunt?
Lamar Hunt of the Hunt family that owned the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
Influential figure in
American football,
in soccer.
Makes sense.
One of the founding fathers of MLS. So that's why he's tied into the award. But Inter Miami made it all the way to the semifinal. This was all pre-Messi.
Right.
Their run in this tournament. They had to go to penalty kicks against Miami FC, which is actually now something that happens annually. Inter Miami find their way down to the cage at Ricardo Silva Stadium.
That's the lower division beneath MLS.
Yeah, so the U.S. Open Cup is open to all professionally accredited soccer clubs here in the United States. If we and a merry band of plumbers and whatnot want to start a big league, a beer league football team and get accredited with the U.S. Soccer Federation, there are steps to do that so you can become eligible to play this. And then the bigger clubs, the professional clubs join in later in the competition, so on and so forth, until you're left with 4 teams. Sometimes there's a miracle Cinderella run. Miami FC actually went on a Cinderella run in this competition where they beat MLS's Atlanta United, having then been eliminated by this very same Cincinnati FC team. Cincinnati FC in the MLS regular season competition is first place in the Eastern Conference. They haven't lost a game at home all season long. They're coming off a really bad loss in their Hell is Real rivalry against Columbus Crew. Inter Miami, different team now than they were when this competition started, and this game is available on different streaming services. I believe Telemundo, Peacock for Spanish language, Paramount Plus. And if Inter Miami win this match, depending on what happens in the other semifinal, they could potentially host a final. And the talk is that it might not be at Drive Pink Stadium since it's this extra game and it's a cup final. Why not pack the house at Hard Rock Stadium to make it happen?
Not gonna lie, Miami FC. When I've seen them on the ticker before, I used to think it was just Inter Miami. I used to think it was just Inter Miami, and they just put Miami Football Club on there. I was like, oh, wow, it's another whole nother division. Jeez. Cincinnati FC, who they're playing in this semi, just moved up to MLS recently? Is that right?
Yeah, a couple years ago. Okay. A couple years ago, they had a rough start of it, but now they have this identity. It's really difficult to play on. They have good players, such as Brandon Vasquez, Matt Miazga is a player that was once signed to Chelsea. He's an American player that has, I think, a pretty funny moment. You know the meme where there's this U.S. soccer player and a Mexican soccer player, and the U.S. soccer player has his hand to his chest saying, like, you're too small.
Yeah,
that was Matt Miazga. He plays for Cincinnati.
I'd never want to sound completely like an idiot. You know what I mean? I'm afraid to ask certain questions because I don't want to seem silly.
We know you're asking for Jeremy, so go ahead.
Exactly. I don't know. The team that Messi plays for, are they the Flamingos or do they have a name?
So you put flamingo emojis anytime that they do something?
Yeah. I put them for every time he scores a goal.
Yeah, so it's a totally different bird. They're herons.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
the bird isn't
Inter Miami Herons.
Their nickname is the Heron.
That's the first time I'm hearing this.
Oh boy.
Let's give it a second.
I don't know. I kind of like that one.
I don't hate it.
I liked it.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I liked it.
But Mike, where are we with Messi then? Because I'm hearing or reading that after this semi that maybe he takes some time off. Maybe they don't play him as much. He's 36 years old. He's been playing a lot. And damn it, if I'm an Inter Miami fan, I'm thinking, what? For the regular season that we need him, we're going to give him time off?
Well, you keep saying that we need him, and making the MLS playoffs at this point, it's certainly possible, especially if you project what they did in the Leagues Cup to the remainder of their MLS games, but it's a tough road to hoe. Like it's going to be tough to pull themselves out of that hole to actually make the Eastern Conference playoffs.
So is it not realistic enough?
I don't understand why you would prioritize this, and this is the American-centric fan. Like, you want to win the MLS because it's perceived as the biggest trophy available to them, but you also want to win trophies. And if you're in a semifinal, as opposed to your current status right now within the Eastern Conference of the MLS regular season competition, you prioritize the opportunity to win a trophy.
I go through these sort of American Central ideals when it comes to championships, and I think it's why I'm confused, but I think it's because we're joining all of this mid-season. So if there was a recontextualization of, hey, going into the regular season with no games being played, here are the things that would be the most important to go after, are I think maybe what we're looking for, because we're seeing a team that was in last place in their league win a championship as we're just kind of going along for the ride. And as someone who I've mentioned earnestly wants to understand how this works, I think I just don't know what's supposed to be important.
I didn't need an 8-syllable word out of that, but I am sort of in agreement. Like, don't tell me that the regular season doesn't really matter when the Premier League is just the regular season. Not just the regular season, but like that's the big deal, right? There is no playoffs or whatever. So if you're triaging this, I'm putting the regular season first.
Well, in depending on the club that you support, you do prioritize the other cup competitions. For example, if you're in the if you're Wigan, an opportunity at what used to be called the Carling Cup, the League's Cup, is a huge deal. The FA Cup is a huge deal. If you're a club like Chelsea, a mega club, right, or at least used to be, you look at your season, you look at the fixtures, and you say, all right, there's an opportunity for us to win 4 trophies here this season. Let's get as many as we possibly can. And then you prioritize Champions League is the biggest, winning the European Championship, and then your domestic league is second. For MLS, we're not at that place with the CONCACAF Champions League yet, where it's considered more important than MLS, which is a shame because the Club World Cup is a big deal. You go up, you can potentially have, like Seattle Sounders made it to the Club World Cup this year, got eliminated by an Egyptian team, but you could have had a final that's Real Madrid against Seattle Sounders, and it's you could actually have the opportunity to call yourself the best club in the world.
I think what Jeremy's trying to figure out is that it seems like these other cups are being prioritized because the league championship is not realistic at this point in the season. And the question is, if we start from scratch and it's the beginning of the season, what are you prioritizing
Correct.
the most?
And would winning MLS matter?
Okay, well, this is where I'm trying to land with Mike. How realistic are we talking? Are we talking even if they win every game, which is crazy? Do they still need help? Blah, blah, blah. Like, if they get in, that's all they need.
If they win, I think they'll need to, don't quote me on this, I think 26 points are available to them. If they get 20 of them, they should be fine.
Okay.
Certainly if they win every game, they will be fine. But it's like anything. If we're starting the league year from scratch, you prioritize MLS, and if you find yourself in these other cup competitions outside of League's Cup, because it seems like everybody went for that, which is why I think it was a legitimate trophy, you may not play him in your first group of CONCACAF Champions Leagues, him being Messi. You may not play him in the U.S. Open Cup, and you hope that your depth, because you want to save your star players' legs for more important games, you hope that your depth can carry you along in those competitions to the point that you get to the quarterfinals, and you're like, okay, this is a realistic thing where we could actually win some hardware, a prestigious trophy. Let's play Messi in that, and maybe not worry so much about New York Red Bulls. We don't actually have a frame of reference as to what Inter Miami would prioritize because since Messi's been here, he's only played in cup competitions, League's Cup, and now the U.S. Open Cup.
Real quick, though, he is scheduled, as far as you know, to play against Cincinnati, right?
He's scheduled to play against Cincinnati tonight in the U.S. Open Cup, and Tata Martino has said that he's going to play against New York Red Bulls, and that would actually be his MLS regular season debut up in New Jersey.
But this is exactly what I needed, because I think what was happening is so many Inter Miami fans were basically saying, oh, well, MLS regular season doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And I think what should have been said is it doesn't matter as much anymore in comparison to these tournaments because we're already so far behind that now these tournaments matter more to get us where we need to be. Because I think what was happening was it seemed like this diminishing of the regular season schedule and how much that could matter in the league overall as people who are brand new to observing it.
I think you have two competing factions at place, which is the people that are trying to explain that no, winning trophies is what you get into soccer, and that's what it's all about. And when you're this far along, that takes precedent, to people coming from the outside and applying logic from like the NBA and NFL, which is the league championship. That's what the what the big deal is. Why haven't we actually played any of those games? And it's just massaging all those answers for everybody, because I do want this messy thing to be inclusive. I don't want Juju to be made to feel stupid when he's just merely asking a question.
Well, I feel like this is inclusive now. It's way better than it was before for you, Mike. Like, we have these conversations now. We're actually talking about this.
And the only faction I'm concerned with was my dog Mike called this before Fabrizio Romano, whoever the hell is over in European lads. My boy had it last year. Salute to everybody involved, but every time I see Messi walking in the store and a billion folks, I say, boy, Mike, call this. Look at him, boy, every time.
Why does Fabrizio sounds like he smells amazing? This is where I want to bring in Billy, though, because this is I feel like the rest of the MLS is Billy, and Inter Miami is the Freeze. And they're going to catch the rest of this teams, and they're going to make and that's where it's like interesting, because even if they don't, even if the rest of MLS clips them at the tape and they're like, a point out of the playoffs, it's like, well, now next year this squad should dominate and it's going to be a lot of fun, yada yada. So I'm putting 100% of my interest level into this MLS, because this is sort of the underdog story that I want.
Well, I mean, they're playing FC Cincinnati, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that are leading their conference. So today you get to see how they would stack up against someone in their conference, in their league, even though this game doesn't count.
You got to see that throughout the Leagues Cup competition, too. Beating Nashville is a big deal. Winning at Nashville is really hard to do. So if they ran through that, beat Mexican competition, beat U.S. MLS competition, you have to think that they can keep that momentum going throughout the league year.
NFL Sunday Ticket is now on YouTube and YouTube TV, which means that it just got easier to be an NFL fan, even if you live far away. Like maybe you like the Bears, but you're hibernating in Panthers territory. But with NFL Sunday Ticket, your out-of-market team is never more than a short distance away. Specifically, the distance from you to your remote control. NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. Go to youtube.com/presale to get $50 off.
Terms and embargoes apply. Offer ends 9/19. No refund. Subscription auto renews.
Don Batard.
Elton John does not like performing Crocodile Rock, but to the point we were making, I think he still does, because he just knows the crowd wants to hear it.
Right, well, he has to.
I feel like that's safe. He might be litigious, but that was such a poor imitation of the song.
Stugotz.
We can all agree, Piano Man.
Might get shot.
The crowd needs to sing Piano Man.
Yeah, but I want to hear Billy Joel sing Piano
Most
Man.
of it, they just let you at the end go.
Does he still have She just wants Suey nominations. That's what she wants.
Yeah.
She just wants to rack up Suey nominations.
Is that what she's going
I'm trying to avoid
Fake
that.
Crocodile Rock, fake Billy Joel's piano. You got it. It's all right.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. DraftKings has all kinds of ways to get in on the action, including same-game parlays, props, live betting, and so much more. Use code Dan when you sign up for the DraftKings Sportsbook app to check it out.
I shouldn't be saying this on the air as someone that has made some money on Messi arriving to Inter Miami by buying an extra set of tickets and selling that one and going to all the games available to me, at least when I'm in the country.
You're a genius.
At least when I'm in the country.
Is that legal? If you knew he was coming, that's like the insider trading, ticket insider trading.
What do you mean? No, because the Leagues Cup, they only went on sale like right before, so I didn't have that knowledge. I didn't approach that beforehand.
You're plugged in. I mean, just journalistically, I feel like this it's a blurred line here. Lucy, did you go to journalism school?
I did. I also went to journalism camp.
What?
Oh, me
Yeah.
too. Me too,
What?
of course.
A fellow yearbook camper?
Wait, there's 3?
I went to yearbook camp my junior year.
What is yearbook camp?
Yeah, I didn't go to
what a
yearbook camp,
time.
but I went to journalism
Same
camp.
thing.
What is journalism camp?
I went to 2 separate journalism camps. I went to the one at UNC and the one at Iowa
How old are you?
in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, the one at UNC was probably a lot better, but the one at Iowa, way more fun. And that's why I went to school
It's
there.
like sleepaway camp?
Yeah, it was literally just like, any other camp except for instead of like going into the woods or playing soccer, we did journalism.
Izzy tried to include a yearbook camp in there, but that ain't the same thing. But
It's an offshoot of journalism camp, and it was at Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida.
That was
So
like
it
I
wasn't
did.
Really
It's now
exciting.
CVS College.
Yeah, I did yearbook in high school instead of newspaper. But it's not the same thing.
No, it's
did
not.
newspaper.
And I don't remember
too.
doing anything at yearbook camp. I just remember thinking to myself, man, for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to tell people I went to yearbook camp.
Did you have a yearbook for the camp?
I mean, it was basically, I was about to go into being the editor. So it was basically teaching you how to be the editor of the yearbook. And
But
so
was there a yearbook to commemorate the camp?
No.
Okay, I mean,
I was a future farmer. I was a future farmer of America. We had Polaroid jackets.
What?
You feel me?
What is a future farmer of America?
You feel me? You got to be a secret
It's a
society. You know, we farm. You know, and we're the future.
Okay.
Just like the children.
I always wanted to go to space camp because
My cousin did that.
because you ever saw the commercials for those on VHS tapes of children's movies. They made it look like you were actually going to go to outer space by the end of your camp experience. But to the original point, I don't think I broke any moralities that you covered in journalism
we have
camp.
some journalism campers here that could tell us.
Yeah, as a journalism camper, I think you might be okay.
Blurred
I
line,
mean, I
though.
bought,
lines.
not just
We'll still
because
put you in the yearbook.
not just because I love soccer, but I had a feeling since before this franchise played any games that Messi would one day be down here, and I wanted to get in on the ground floor. I actually got my tickets as I was changing my daughter for the very first time. I was like, this is kind of a bad time, but I'll take two.
Poopy fingers?
Genius.
And it's worked out. But like I said, I probably shouldn't reveal this to you. But as the regular season kicks back up, there is a game against Sporting Kansas City. I think it's possibly on September 9th. And this is something that MLS deals with that other major leagues don't across Europe. Is there's something called an international break. And the league season gets suspended because a lot of the best players go back to their home countries and compete in competitions. This time it's going to be World Cup qualifiers because we're gearing up for 2026. There is a pretty good chance, and Messi's given no indication that he's not going to play for his national team as he's continued to play after winning the World Cup, that he's going to have to go away from the team during the international break to compete in World Cup qualifiers with Argentina.
When
this
is the
means,
international break?
I think it's September 9th, around there. I think this is the match.
Isn't
Let's
the
look it up.
next World Cup's in 4 years?
No, it's in 2026. We're already almost there.
What year are we?
2023.
Okay, so 3 years. He's going to play in 39 years old. He's going to be playing in the World Cup.
Well, there's also Copa America that's happening next year in this country that he needs to tune up for. That is a major trophy. And
Who qualifies for that one?
Copa America is a CONMEBOL competition. That's a governing body of South America.
What?
The governing body of
What
South.
was it called?
CONMEBOL.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I think so. It's confusing because of all the syllables and whatnot.
Jeremy told me that in journalism camp that he set up Gatorade Pong and then clarified and said, I was very popular. I was one of the leaders.
Gong.
Yeah, I was a cool, popular kid at journalism camp because if you can imagine, again, based off the everything about me, not cool and popular in like the real world, but in journalism camp, this whole thing worked.
I don't understand. Like at regular camp, you'd go like if this is like a sleepaway camp for one of these
This
movies,
is at
you
a
have
college.
like lake time, you have like the blob, you go out and you do archery and arts and crafts. And like here, what did you do? You did like different writing styles.
Yeah.
Like what were the different activities you jumped from?
Yeah, I learned about AP style.
Oh, God.
I went to the University of Florida's journalism camp that was a week long and met all sorts of friends from across the state of Florida and outside the state of Florida. And we stayed in the dorms on UF's campus, all on a couple of different floors. And so I, being the social butterfly that I am, decided, let's get everybody together and play some sort of game. And what we ultimately came up with to be cool kids, because we were 16, was let's play Gatorade Pong.
I was opposite. I went up there with my friend Warren, who I've turned into a big fan of the show, so he's probably listening to this.
Shout out
and
to Warren.
He
Salute.
was somebody
Salute.
that I was sort of helping through high school, let's say, and he wasn't
cheated
really
off
big.
of you?
No, I sort of did the sports section for him in the yearbook, and he just kind of got all the credit. And then
breaking news.
When we were up at yearbook camp, there was this one girl that he was just talking to the whole time, and I was like, "We're not here to have fun. We're here to do
You said
yearbook
that?
stuff." No, of course not. In my mind, I was saying that, but I was just like, "Come on, man, you know you want to do this." And he's like, "No, I just want to talk to this girl."
Got it.
The UNC one, we would like interview athletes and coaches on campus. We talked to JP Tokido, who was on the UNC basketball team. We also talked to Eric Montross.
Wow.
The Iowa one was not nearly as put together, but you could sign out. So we would sign out, and we couldn't get into the bars, but we would just walk around and see what was happening there.
Terrible camp.
And that's where I went to college.
If you have those tickets, you may want to sell them, is what I'm trying to get
For which
at.
game?
For the Sporting Kansas City, because you may want to take advantage of someone that is not familiar with the international break, and it's their problem when they get there and they realize Messi's not there.
Is he going to be the only one missing?
It depends on who gets called up. There's a chance that they're starting to announce some of the call-ups, so I haven't seen that. We can actually probably – that news will come down pretty quickly. But Robert Taylor is a player that's been called up by Finland before, and since Messi's arrived, he's been in pretty damn good form. Josef Martinez playing for Venezuela, he could get called up. So that's a good thing about Drake Callender might get a call up to the U.S. national team, even though they don't. The U.S. national team, they don't have to qualify for the next World Cup as a host nation. So they'll be taking Copa America next summer pretty seriously as a warm-up for that competition. What I was trying to get at is Copa America is usually just a tournament that's played in South America, and then to get to an even number of teams, they usually invite other nations. Historically, the United States has been invited, Mexico has been invited, Qatar, Japan, they've been invited to this quite randomly. But there is precedent for this competition expanding into the United States and the CONCACAF region for the Centenario. CONCACAF and Copa America joined forces for Copa America, and that's what's happening again. And you could probably put that squarely on Messi's arrival over here in the United States. And there's all sorts of reports that all these competitions like Libertadores down in South America, they want to expand into North America and just make these gigantic competitions. Again, precedent. I know we're playing fast and loose for the rules, and I know it's all confusing, but Mexico used to compete in that South American Champions League. So
it's a little confusing, but I think we had something of a breakthrough. Not just that we can talk about these things without being mocked at all times, but we just had, and we found out they were the herons and not the flamingos. That's a big breakthrough for Juju over there on social. But Billy,
I'm with Juju. Like, flamingos are pink. A heron is not pink. If we're not going to be doing
a heron?
And herons are rumored to be gangsters. I mean, I didn't hear it from me, but I'm a Gill expert.
Right, but if you look at the crest,
Dan Heron,
despite them wearing pink shirts, if you look at the crest, what color are the birds?
The birds are white, but the herons don't have pink legs. I was looking up herons. Herons are also like kind of grayish, not this like clean white. If you're going to be pink, why can't you just be the flamingos? Like,
and you're in Florida. Like, I don't associate herons with Florida as much as I do flamingos.
In Florida? Like, it's not like I've ever walked across flamingos.
Herons are basically our pigeons.
But I didn't grow up saying, look, there's a heron. I see flamingos, and I think that's a flamingo.
I set up a bird feeder at my house, and a rat got into it. And now it's like,
my damn.
I was very stressed out about it. And then I'm like, do I kill this rat?
Yes.
Well, I mean, how? I set up a trap? I feel bad. The rat probably has a family.
Right, Master Splinter. I mean,
kill them all then.
Right.
Without him, where would we be as a nation?
Family.
Thank you, Juju. Juju gets it.
That's like the joke where the guy says, every chicken has a family. That's why I get a whole family meal when I go to KFC. Just take care of them, all of them.
Well, do you think the birds will scare off the rat?
Wow, Izzy, off the top ropes, whoever your friend is.
But we actually had a breakthrough moment with Billy because we were talking soccer, and Billy was looking something up, and I thought 1,000% he was going to come up with some sort of joke, some sort of sarcastic take. It's like, oh, they're playing a Cincinnati team. That's the best team in their conference. Aren't they going to get points for that? And then we're going to say no, and he's going to say, oh, well, this doesn't matter. But he actually made a good point about why it matters to see how Inter Miami plays against Cincinnati in the semi of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Opens Cup, and I was shocked. It was about as shocked as I've been since I've been here this week.
I'm also looking at the fixture, as it's called, and I see that Sporting Kansas City is like the second game that they have coming up, or one of the, I guess there's like 3 or 4 games in between. How long is this break going to be? Because it's like 4 games away. That Messi's just gone for a month?
No, he's not going to be gone for a month. They'll play at least 2 matches during qualifying. It depends on the length of the international break. Sometimes international breaks can last 2 weeks.
So then help me out with this one. All right, so just give me some other words that I'm just going to have to get used to. You're just kind of spitting out. Fixtures one. Yeah. By the end of the week, I'll be comfortable with fixtures. I'm good with brace.
Table.
It still feels like an injury. Table I've been fine with since I've been. Pitch I'm okay with. But what else?
But you can say games. You can say standings. You can say soccer.
I no longer am shamed when I say those words, but I'd like to just throw in some others when I'm talking to my new soccer friends.
It's like if someone says the baseball field as opposed to the baseball diamond, they may get a couple of side looks from people that are deeply passionate about baseball, but you're not an idiot.
Right. Yeah. Right. So what's it called when somebody scores? Oh wait, what's that one where you score on directly off the corner kick? What's that called?
It's a booter.
That's called bending it like Beckham,
That's
if I'm
right.
not mistaken, Michael, Ryan?
He's right.
I think it's an Olympico.
Olympico. That sounds about right.
Punt is also a word that they use.
What's the word for a game-tying goal?
Spot kick.
The equalizer.
Oh, it's just equalizer. Okay, that was not
You can
that
call it a
difficult.
game-tying goal if you'd like. It's fine.
but,
There are no
equalizer
rules
sounds
here.
cool.
Like, again, it's inclusive.
Yeah.
You know who probably knows all of these terms? Jordan McPherson of the Miami Herald, because he went to the Summer Journalism Institute at the University of Florida with me as well. We had a great time. He and I bonded over beer pong as well. Well, not beer pong, Gatorade pong.
Are you like the
Gatorade
black
pong for
sheep
legal
of
purposes.
the journalism crew?
100%.
Because you're here.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to apply my journalistic principles where possible, but then I ended up wearing sunglasses and a suit bragging about the Miami Heat.
Was he the valedictorian of journalism camp?
No.